Hello, and thanks for joining me. What beautiful weather we've been having here in Datça, Turkey. It's hard to stay inside when you have such nice blue skies and warm sun. People come to vacation in Datça for all sorts of reasons, but certainly one attraction here is the ancient city of Knidos. And today, I thought it'd be nice to take you on a drive out and go to the very end of the peninsula to see where the Aegean and Mediterranean meet. A single entry to the Knidos site is available for €5 for non-Turkish residents, and entrance is included if you have a museum card or pass. I'm not quite sure why the non-Turkish resident prices are listed in euro rather than in Turkish lira. My only guess is maybe because the lira fluctuates so much and prices change so frequently that keeping it displayed in euro prevents them from having to constantly change the signage. I'm not really sure, but if you know why, please let me know in the comments. The Musée cart is for Turkish residents, and for a yearly fee it allows you access to all sorts of museums and ancient cities throughout Turkey, and there are also museum passes for tourists. There are a variety available for different prices and different locations, so I would definitely recommend looking into that if you plan on seeing some museums while you're in Turkey. I'll leave a link to the government website in the description box below where you can get some more information. Our cards were actually set to expire, so we renewed ours for another year since the booth attendant here told us that they were set to raise the prices again shortly. The new cards are digital on your phone, so they just provide you with a temporary plastic card with a QR code to scan, and then you can go ahead and set it up electronically later. As soon as you enter Knidos, you can begin exploring this ancient city. I made a video about a year ago just going through that, and I'll go ahead and link that for you. But on today's excursion, we were skipping over the ancient city and going to take a little hike out to the lighthouse instead. There is one small placard with a very rough map of the trail on your way out, but it probably won't be of much help. The trail is not very well defined, and at some points you probably won't even be sure that you're on any trail at all. In other parts, there's barely any room to walk between prickly shrubs and steep rocks, but since the lighthouse can be clearly seen and isn't that far of a walk, it won't hurt if you accidentally stray away from the trail a little bit. Throughout Knidos and even on the drive-in, you can see remnants of the former city walls. It's said that some of the oldest parts of the walls were likely to date back to the 4th century BC. Knidos was considered a dual city with its mainland and then this tiny island right next to it called Cap Creo. The area between the two has been filled in since then, so it's no longer an island, but instead it's just an extension of the mainland with two harbors on either side. If you plan on taking a hike here, just know that there are no facilities at the lighthouse, so make sure to use the bathroom before heading out and bring some water with you. The terrain is quite rocky, so I'd recommend wearing some decent shoes. There are also patches that had a lot of loose rocks, so just beware and watch your step. And since the whole area is covered with this short bush, much of which is spiky, you may want to consider wearing pants to protect your legs. Just make sure they're ones that you wouldn't mind getting holes in. We took this walk in late April, but the sun was shining and it was still really harsh on my skin. There was no place for shade until you reach the lighthouse, so if you're pale like me, you'll probably want to apply some sunscreen before heading out. Along the route to the lighthouse, you'll get better views of many of the surrounding Greek islands, which are really just a stone's throw away. I don't believe there are any ferries any longer that will take you directly from Datça to the Greek islands, but I know that you can catch some ferries for the islands in Bodrum and Marmaris. The best part about being in Datça in spring is that you get to enjoy all of the beautiful sights in lovely weather without the crowds of summer. There were only a handful of people in Knidos, both on the trail and in the ancient city, so for most of the time we were actually all by ourselves, and all you could hear around you were the sounds of the seawater crashing against the rocky shoreline below. Knidos is where the Mediterranean and Aegean seas meet, and in ancient times its location played an important role in the trade route. Wine was actually a really important export for the city, and apparently the mountains helped to block the strong winds that came in, making it easier for ships to pass in this area. And I can attest to the fact that it does get quite windy out here. After a bit of a climb, we finally made it to the lighthouse. I couldn't really find any information regarding this lighthouse, but more importantly than its purpose, it's best known for the views that you get when you're up here. The tough walk was definitely worth it. Seeing the neighboring island of Kos really helped me to get a perspective of its size, as well as being able to look back at the city of Knidos on the mainland to see how far it really stretched. The ancient Greeks sure knew how to pick the right places to live. The walk back down was a bit rougher than going up, to be honest, and we had to watch our step a bit more closely for loose rocks, but nonetheless it was really enjoyable. I'm sure coming in the late afternoon is especially nice if you're able to watch the sun start to set in the west. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this little video. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to see more from my perspective as an American living in Turkey, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and giving this video a thumbs up. Until next time, thanks!